Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Stone Protocol podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Linzee Bell, who is a embodiment coach. And we're going to learn all about what does embodiment mean. She works primarily with women, but I think, and I believe we're going to find out that when we have truly embodied women, we have very happy men. So, Lindsay, can you, that makes me happy. That's
Man.
exactly. So, Lindsay, we're going to today, and beloved guests, we're going to talk about what it means to be fully present in yourself, in your body. And we're probably going to be talking about internal family systems, different parts, what it's like to have a psychosomatic sense of safety. So then you can truly explore joy, pleasure, and pain as appropriate. Maybe we'll even get into a little CNC. That's the kind of play that I like to talk about. And we'll see what Lindsay thinks about that one. I see a smile, so maybe she knows what that stands for. I don't know. We're going to find out. But from this perspective, we're going to use and treat our sexuality as something sacred. And so that's something that I deeply believe in. And there's a lot of Gen Zs that watch us, any people anywhere from the ages of 15 all the way up to, I don't know, 500, I guess. And so for the 15-year-olds, you're in for a treat because we're not going to censor ourselves. But for those of you who are, 20 to 30 of my listeners and viewers, I want you to understand that as adults, we play with our sexuality because we have an experience of that. We really embody that well with ethics because we have learned what that means to have really healthy relationship with our partners and with ourselves. I think that Lindsay is going to share about that. And I know for me, I had to come to that, no pun intended, but I'll take it, through kind of a rocky road, and that's okay. And you get to learn from the older generations, millennials. Hello, we are millennials, and maybe not make some of the same mistakes. I always tell my cat every time I leave the apartment, I like to talk to my cat because that's fun. I go, Thunder, don't do anything I wouldn't do twice. And so I don't know, Lindsay, what is something fun that you've maybe only done twice? Because the first one was like a little rough, but you're like, I'm maybe going to try this again. And if not, you can just introduce yourself and tell us about what embodiment means to you.
I can't put my finger on just one thing because I'm a Gemini first and foremost, and I love to try everything. I'm so curious. I like to understand things, so I'm a huge fan of letting life be a discovery of curiosity and seeing what works and doesn't. So, the playground is ours, honey.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So,
Yes.
as an embodiment coach, what does that look like for you, for your clients? What does embodiment mean to you?
Such a beautiful question. I know when I first heard the word embodiment or even grounded, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And so on my journey, learning about embodiment and what I really do for clients is I guide them. And I got to have this experience for myself. And so going through so much trauma as a child and even as an adult, lots of grief, lots of loss, lots of pain, abuse, all the things was actually the opening to my greatest sense of purpose. And I often will say, your shame is literally the key to who you are. It is the key to the soul underneath that came to have these experiences to open and stretch and widen your heart into exactly who it is you're here to become. And so that was my experience. And so the way that I look at shadows or shame or experiences that we have gone through and how it ties into embodiment is how do we allow ourselves to go right back into the body, this one vehicle that we have this entire life. Like, this is it. You are the greatest relationship you will ever have with yourself. And so
I
I
love
guide
that.
people back home to their bodies in their skin. How do we listen with our body? How do we understand sensation? How do we find a sense of knowing and awareness within self to then express? Ooh, I'm getting chills right now. To express our truth, to express what's alive for us, and being willing to go all the way into every nook and crevice because it's the guide. Our emotions are the guide, energy and motion. And I find that when I have a moment of rage and then I move to anger and then I move to, right, we jump up the vibrational scale within the body. That's really just like these little crumbs to the golden nugget along the way. And I'm definitely a student of life. And so with my clients, it's all about, coming back to the present moment, what is here right now in this moment, and we build and stretch from that place.
There's so much. I so deeply resonate with everything you said, and there's so much here. What it's bringing up for me is a deeply aligned nervous system to understand what our environment is basically showing us and how we then can feel through that, use our body. I like to think it was like a sensor console, like a spaceship, because I think space is fun.
Love
Um,
it.
and that like our chakras and even fuck our nipples, whatever, our genitalia, these are all sensors, sensors of like how do we want to interact, communicate, and be with our environment. And when we are embodied, as you said, in this vehicle as an energy being, literally electricity is running through us and that energy is flowing, we then not only have really great sense perception, but we then understand how we can internalize that interoception of the experience to then really lean in a playful and fun way. That to me is like what that's awakening and embodiment. Does that land?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Every little thing that you said, and it popped something up for me, right? Because on the same token, something that I used to do a lot is I was such a victim of my past. And I was such a victim of my story. Like this happened to me as opposed to life is happening for me. And
Yeah.
so just to like piggyback off of what you said, like absolutely being connected to your senses and being able to understand that electricity in your body as well as acceptance, right? So like sometimes I can go in and I can try to process something over and over and over again. It kind of keeps me stuck.
Yeah.
But when I often go from this sense of like needing to process, needing to process, needing to process to I accept this, I can literally move on from the experience and open up an entirely new timeline for myself. And my clients often see the same. What do you think about that? Have you seen the same
You
thing
and I are going to
yourself?
be such good friends. I'm so happy that we met. I literally I was having dinner with a dear friend and her partner last night, and was sharing with them about my sexual trauma, not in detail, but talking about how like I cleared that for me. Like that just is not a thing that resonates for me in a negative way, and I no longer view it. And it was childhood sexual trauma, and it no longer is anything that is like weighting me down. I have other stuff I am working on, so I have other parts. Got issues with my mom, whatever, like I still have things that I'm working on as an adult, but that piece of my experience as a human, like, is clear, not cleared as in thrown away, but clear as in like crystalline now where light can flow through it. And I don't see it as a punishment that happened to me or some like that I made a mistake or that I am bad. And I now leverage it as a prism to help clients who have sexual trauma and then can no longer have any negative like interactions. And so if we're like thinking about, okay, the sensors, when I was a younger man, I'd be at the gym and I've always been strong, like lifting weights, but I'd be around these older guys and I would get this like weird feeling in my body, like, oh, what is that? And it would feel, and this dude just like being nice to me, like it's not him, that was me. And that was me trying to understand and make sense of this experience that I had previously. And then with the use of a lot of very powerful psychedelics and really great therapy and like lots of crying and catharsis, was able to literally let go and unburden and then have that embodiment and clarity. So then I could fully step into just one, being feeling safe in the gym, but then two, really stepping into my sexuality. And I was doing great previously, according to my ex-wives. Like they were loving it, but then really able to be fully present with no barrier there. And I think that's, I assume, what you help your clients with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, right? Like, what is the golden nugget here? Like, what's the root cause? And this is what I often see in my own experience, as you said, with psychedelics. I've been in psychotherapy for 6 years. It's the greatest thing I've ever done for myself, right?
Right.
And this undercurrent of shame thrives in secrecy. And shame is the very thing, like, it's not even an emotion, right? Shame is something that's put on us. So, like you were saying in the beginning, I'm in an environment, I was abused as a child as well. And I'm in this environment and I'm taking in all of this energy of what this person, this adult is saying. And
Yeah.
because I'm so young, I'm just internalizing it as this is me. I'm unlovable. I'm not good enough. All of these things tucked in my subconscious. And all of a sudden, I'm literally like walking in a living death because all of these belief systems are stored within my tissues. And so it's the shame that is put on me. And so to liberate myself, as you said, it's going into those spaces and places and allowing that rage to come through in and up like a volcano,
Hmm.
and just allow myself to literally go into every crevice of that shame. And on the other side of that, it's like, holy shit, I have such a fucking love for humanity,
Yeah.
for women, for humanity in general, men, women, whatever you want to call it. And it's because I know what it's like to sit in the shadow of shame. I know what it's like to sit contemplating death. I know what it's like to lose family members, right? And it's like, because I've been able to allow love in with that much pain and suffering, and see the other side of like, wow, the sunrise is coming up and I can take a deep breath and be present with this. I literally will spend the rest of my life helping people discover this within themselves, because it tastes so much sweeter, it feels so much sweeter, because those things happened in my life, which is, again, your shame is the source of your greatest power. You know what I'm saying?
There's two threads here I want to grab, and I'm going to do the second one first. And what you just said of, once I had this experience, this liberation inside of myself, I needed to share this with other people. That was my experience doing psychedelic assisted coaching slash therapy, particularly around my childhood sexual abuse. I knew that I had these markers kind of in my past. I have a psych degree and whatever, like I'm a smart guy. I was probably in my, like, this was probably 4 or 5, no, it's got to be 6, 7 years ago. I'm 40 now. It changes every year. And I know it's crazy. And I was on the floor of, just like carpeted floor. I've not told this story in the podcast yet. And I was with my ex-wife, and we were just doing kind of a home session. We would do sessions with our counselor and then doing home sessions. We were on some very, very, very powerful psychedelics here in Colorado. And I remember I finally got in touch with the memories, and they came back, and I was just crying, these tears just like flowing down my face of joy. I was so happy to have access to those memories, because they were actually locked off from my psyche. And then I was able to just move through them, and like catharsis, and like you're shaking, just like they talk about, body keeps a score. I'm like literally like shaking out. And I was so, so happy. And after that experience, and I told my counselor this, I was like, I have to at least carve out some portion of my schedule to help other people, particularly men, just 'cause I'm a man, have that experience. Like, it's criminal for me to not do that. He's like, bro, why do you think I do this? and and so that understanding of like how sweet it is to be on the other side of the river was so powerful. And that I'm hearing that mirrored in you. And I want to now go to my the first thread that I have is when you said that volcano, the volcano of rage. So I can so deeply relate to that. I've been canceled twice, some anger management issues in my past. Didn't hurt anybody, at least not really. Maybe people had some hurt feelers. Come on, guys, fucking get over yourselves. You're fine. Jesus Christ. But that rage was real, and my anger was real. And when I was then able to transform that suffering, that volcano of rage, into love, oh my God, it opens the floodgates. And now, and kind of bring it back to sexy time, because that's super fun. Now the lovemaking, the passion, you have this huge fucking channel now. It's like it has been like carved through with anger. And now you are just like a love machine that you can just inject love. It doesn't have to be sex, but it can be that too. But just from your heart of just being able to project that love light. Is that your experience as well? I mean, tell me how that lands for you.
It, I have found that my rage and my anger has been probably the number one precursor to allowing all the other emotions to come through, because for a while, I kind of, was taught to love and light my way through everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like tucked away and like, don't really look at it and just be positive, right? Like that toxic positivity.
Mhm.
But that's not real, right? Like the body needs to, like an animal, like primal beings. And when I finally learned how to access my primal rage within my body, and like study these ancient women like Green Tara, even Mary Magdalene, and have experiences in ayahuasca with them, And like you were saying, like trauma release and letting that shaking, that's a primal element that we share with animals. But us humans, we've been taught, don't cry, or here's a pill, or here's this. I was an alcoholic for years. I nearly died from it, right? To numb, 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 disassociate. And so when I finally felt safe to access that internal rage, and all of the alchemy was able to come through that, and I was able to access my heart, but I could not access my heart and the sadness that needed to be truly felt and cried. I heard this, a mentor of mine said, if you don't allow yourself to cry, your organs will cry for you.
Oh
And I
man,
was like,
I was crying in the car on the way here. It's so wild. It's one of the reasons I need to take eye drops. Like, yeah, it's so vital.
yeah,
Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
yeah, I
They
got
were good
chilly when
tears.
you
They're
said
happy
that.
tears.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I cry all the time now because what I've realized is like this body is meant to feel. We are meant to feel in every, I like to call it like the rainbow, the rainbow of emotions. Like we can't just have blue. We would be fucking bored if we just like rode had blue all the time. I'm like, no, give me the rainbow. So when I was able to access that anger, it opened up that space. The tears from my inner child and all the things that she didn't feel safe to feel finally come up. And I'm like, oh, baby girl, like, I got you. You're safe to feel now. You are safe. I'm a safe adult for you. And once she felt safe, she was like,
Yep.
and just
So this
able
is
to
this is
actually
perfect.
completely experience.
So
Yeah.
this is I'm gonna interrupt you so then you can just talk longer again. Seriously,
Yeah, no, go for it.
I'm not joking. Where I want to go with this is exactly where you're going, and we're so fucking like in alignment here. I love it. So I can hear like the audience being like, okay, sex god and sex goddess, like good for you guys. You figured it out. We understand. You've healed your trauma, and you guys are amazing. Like what, like how, and that's literally, Lindsay, what you're talking about, of healing that inner child. So the question is, so, and then you can talk longer about it, is what was that process like for you? How did you do that? And thank you for already answering the question before I asked it.
You know, and I'll just say too, like I'm still moving things. There is like there's always there's always another door, there's always another layer, and sometimes like things come back up, right? There's things that come back up that I thought I have already cleared within my body because there's a deeper opening, and I really think, I have this belief that um, there's a certain theme, right, of our life that we're here. And I think my theme is to understand suffering and to understand the bottom of the barrel in every facet. I'm talking, I have had the bottom of financial stress. I have had severe abuse. I have been in relationships that were emotionally, physically, sexually degrading and extremely abusive. And again, like I said before, I'm like, why is that happening? Or now I'm like, wow, this is my deeper sense of purpose, right? And so to kind of circle back to what you were saying, like,
Can I touch on that really quick, and just
yeah,
we will get back to the inner child healing. I too, and we will learn more about your story. I too have had these experiences, and kind of like the childhood sexual trauma, now as an adult, and this magical superpower that is called 40, at least for me, and maybe 50 will be another one. I don't know, but 40 is like I'm fucking loving it, honestly. Like seriously.
I'm
Um,
35, so I'm right behind you,
Perfect,
baby.
excellent. You're loving it too. Um, doing great. So from this perspective, it's those deepest, darkest places, when we come out of them, that gives us the most valuable minerals and resources that allow us to actually then go to those extreme places. And again, thinking about like a spaceship, if you want to go to Alpha Centauri, you need fuel to get there. And so the bottom of the barrel, that's where the unique experiences are, and they are dark. But when we transmute that darkness into the rainbowic light, the rainbow light of something unique, that's how we can create unique things and create cures for ourselves and others. And so I see it now in hindsight as a gift, but that takes time. And so maybe we can come into how were you able to transition from, oh my God, my sexual trauma or my abusive partnership or my abusive parents were like fucking horrible, like the worst. I hate them. I hate everything. And if you're like me, I had suicidal ideation. I don't any longer, but like, I want to fucking die. I don't want to be here. Like, this is bad. This is just bad. I want out. Please, someone save me from this. Into, okay, I now feel very good about these experiences. And now I'm using it as a resource for joy and happiness. So, what for you has been the process of taking those experiences that you had that in many viewpoints we'd see would be absolutely horrible, but when healed and cleared inside of your body, and now you're able to actually embody yourself fully, can be joyful. What has that process been like for you?
Such a potent question. Something that has taken me a really long time to learn and understand is, for a while in the beginning, I was going to so many different tools and so many different resources, and I was having all of these cathartic experiences, but it was helpful, but I was going towards it with the mindset of like, I need to get this out of me.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
And so when I went to psychotherapy, we did psychosomatic healing. We worked with a tool called TRE, trauma release exercise. I don't know if you're familiar, but essentially,
Only a little bit, but please educate all of us. Yeah.
yeah. So profound tool. Essentially, you're moving into the psoas. It was created by David Berceli. And you warm up your body so that your muscles are nice and warm. And you put yourself in like a butterfly yoga position, right? So soles of the feet together, knees open wide. And you
And
start to
already
bring up,
that might be triggering for folks, right?
absolutely.
I'm even now thinking like a bunch of strangers, like yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah. And so, and yeah, to your point, that can be super triggering. And so your body has to be able to feel safe enough with the person that you are working with. And that, just anybody listening, that is first and foremost. Is this isn't something that you just dive into right away. Like, it's going to take time to communicate and talk to get your body to a space where she
Do you
or
do this with
he,
a partner or with a facilitator, and is it a group
facilitator,
setting? Okay.
facilitator always.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really deep process, and we want to be careful, because you and I both know, if you've had a lot of trauma and you jump into a modality, you can easily flood your system, which
Very
is
easy.
not safe, right? We can blow the circuits out. We want to, and this is kind of my point, and what I'm getting to that I've learned is, I would flood my system often, and working with facilitators that didn't really understand the nervous system and how to deal with disassociation, dealing with active numbness, which is a process in and of itself. And a lot of the times people are going straight for the emotion and the sensation, right? And so building up the capacity to just feel safe, right? I believe a facilitator is someone who is holding the space of pure unconditional love, and that's it. They're not trying to force something out of you. They're not trying to take anything from you. And so once your body feels safe, you would drop into,
Can I ask a question?
yeah,
So, and this happens with me when I'm in sessions with clients, and the client's like, I don't feel safe. So
yeah,
when you don't feel safe, and I'm there, I'm like, my hands are like folded, and I'm
yeah,
like I'm like very being very polite, like I'm very much here, and they're like, I don't feel
totally.
safe. I'm like, okay, so in that setting or any of your settings, when you don't feel safe,
Mm.
how can you embody safety?
Like, as a facilitator,
Well, and what was that process like for you? So a lot of people will tune into this podcast because they want what you got, right? They want to be the sex
right?
goddess, and they may be anywhere on that trajectory, and maybe they do feel safe, in which case this part will be like, oh, I remember when I felt safe, this is what I do, and then they will learn a new way to share with someone else. But if they don't feel safe, how did
Yeah.
you? I'm literally thinking of a good friend of mine. She'd be like, I would never spread my legs, like I wouldn't feel safe enough to do
Yes.
that. So how can you embody safety even in there, and what are the
Mm.
practices, what are the protocols that you do to feel safe in that moment, to even get to that spot?
Yeah. Yeah. So there's two things that I'll say to this. The first one is, I really believe that when your body and when your soul is ready, the person, the modality, the support
Mm,
is going to show up for you, and
mm,
you are going to know. You're going to know. So when I look back on my experience, I was hitting a fucking wall, right? I was deep in alcoholism. I had just lost my sister in a terrible motorcycle accident, my brother to suicide 2 years later. And I had all this unprocessed stuff still in my body. And I was getting to the point, I had a son, he was in California, and I was in my apartment in a 5-day bender to exactly what you're talking about, right? I can't do this anymore. I'm not good enough. My son will be better with my mom, right? We all know what that can feel like.
Yeah.
When you hit that point, like something came into me, and this is like what we can't necessarily speak to, because this is like what I call like a God bomb moment, a
It's magic. We
soul,
can speak to it. It's called magic. We call
soul.
it magic.
Yeah. This soul, this higher self moment where it's like the, oh my God moment. I can't believe that happened. Right. Like you think back to some of your experiences where something just happened for you and you were like, fucking miracle, right? Somebody who's trying to get pregnant for years and all of a sudden they get pregnant when they stop efforting as much, right? Little things like that. And so this magical soul moment that came through, right? My brother showed up at my doorstep and he took me to his house, and I was like, probably my 7th time trying to get sober, relapse, right? Over and over again, which I will just say on the other side of something, relapse is not something to shame. I really truly believe that every time I relapsed, I got more aware. So if you are in a season of relapsing and whatever it is that you're moving through, you're getting better every single time, because there is a level of new awareness that can keep happening, and don't give up on yourself. Okay. So in that magic
Take a
moment,
moment there, because I have a lot of clients. I do a lot of drug rehabilitations, and they every single time see a relapse as a failure. And I'm
yeah.
thinking of one in particular who fentanyl addiction. Finally, we got him out of fentanyl. He went to rehab 6 times, and he said, "I'm not going to 7th." He said, "I'm going to kill myself before I go back to rehab." And I'm like, I'll tear up thinking about it. He's
Yeah.
not dead, and he's not in rehab.
Bless
But
him.
imagine if he didn't have this perspective that you had and did kill himself. He's a really great guy. And so can you, I don't know, maybe just take a minute. Sorry. I'm like,
Yeah.
start crying over here. Talk
No,
a little
let's
bit
go
about,
in it.
I've not heard it framed that way before. It's actually new
Yeah.
information to me.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for asking it. Yeah. I mean, I remember again, like this magic God moment and making that decision. Like, I couldn't even describe what it is, right? It just hits you. And it's like, you can either, my brother had put a photo of my sister and my brother there, and I'm looking at it, and it was my birthday. And I'm like, I gotta do something. And, my brother had locked up all the cabinets with alcohol in it, anywhere he had something that I couldn't reach. And my mom was like, you're going to psychotherapy for 6 months. It's kind of like a rehab moment for someone else, right? And so I go in, and this is what I'm speaking to, right? I would go into Travis's office after a relapse, and I would be so filled with shame. And I would sit on that couch, and he would look at me and say, I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. I'm like,
I have chills.
Tim,
And
I'm so happy
I'm
you're here on
sitting
my couch.
there.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah. And this is what we're speaking to. That fucking moment counts far more than any amount of modality that you could ever possibly do. Because if you have someone's just being with you, right? Like our nervous systems, like you were saying, electricity. And in a moment where somebody is so filled with shame and pain and literally feels like I can't go another day with you, and you have someone who sits down and who is co-regulating with you in this moment, and your nervous system is able to attune to this person, and they're like, nope, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm so happy you're here.
And
You're
it'll be
here.
okay. And it will
It's
be
going to be
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
I got you. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Right. But it really took me getting to the point where it really was life or death. And sometimes it takes us to get to that point. And I also believe, again, going back to this God moment, this magic moment, it's like our souls know. Our souls know. When I look at my 12-year-old son and something's going on with him that I can't fix as a mother, you're like, you know, and I have to come back and I go, I trust his soul. Right. Like, I don't want to be a helicopter parent. I got to sit back and go, I trust my son's path. He's
How
going
do
to
you
have
how do
to
you sit
learn.
in that uncertainty? I just got out of dinner with this lovely person. I'm going to introduce you to her. Her name is Emily. She's on the
Yeah.
podcast. I think you'll like her a lot. Maybe you already know her. I'm not sure. And I was talking with her and her partner about uncertainty, and it's this uncertainty that you're talking about of trusting the person, trusting your son's soul. And I don't do super well with uncertainty. I like to control things. I'm very controlling, I've been told, and I create
Me too.
protocols, and then I teach other people how to control their lives to optimize for success. Right?
I
How,
totally get that, by the way. Yes.
very controlling is so. How can you be in that uncertainty with your son, with your client? And so for me, I'm like looking at this guy, it's the fentanyl addict who's like was very successful. He got slipped fentanyl by accident. He thought he was taking opioids, and it wasn't. It was got hit with fentanyl, and I don't know if he's going to go kill himself. And in these moments, I have to say, I am so happy you're here. I know your other friends are happy you're here. And that uncertainty of he walks out of that door and I don't know if I'll ever see him again. It's the same with, I have a daughter too. You know, we walk down the street, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. How do you sit with that uncertainty and trust their soul?
I think because kind of what you're saying, right? Like, my life has been nothing but uncertainty. And so like in life, we need uncertainty, right? There's like six different things. We need to feel significant. We need to feel connection. We need to feel certainty. We need to feel uncertainty. And there's a couple more. But if we look at those like a piece of pie, right? If I'm having way too much uncertainty, I have to find a way to level out these pieces of pie.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, life is uncertain, right? And so if I think back to these God magic moments, the positive, like the moment where I sat in that office and I felt a breath of fresh air because I'm looking in this person's eyes and my system is having a relational moment, and my nervous system's picking up on their sense of groundedness and their sense of neutrality, which is really what we need. They're not trying to force me into a belief. They're not trying to do anything special. They're not trying to make me feel special. It's just like, boom, right? And so when I think of that, that was uncertain. That came in my life in an uncertain way. I didn't expect that to happen. And so how do I shift my perspective to go, okay, where in my life was there uncertainty? I'm getting chills, that were pure magic, pure God, pure universe, whatever your word is, right? And pure love, really. And how can I start to shift this pattern of belief, right? To me, a belief is a thought that you continue to think. So if I look at this pattern of belief and I'm continuing to loop, first of all, if I'm staying in my head, I'm dead because this is just going to keep going. But if I can come into this body and find a sense of neutrality in a moment, and I can look at where the uncertainty has been a blessing and start to go, okay, maybe uncertainty is not all bad. And then to your point, when I got out of addiction, I started with the gym and I became a bodybuilder, and the reason that worked for me is because it gave me a system.
Yeah.
It gave me discipline. And I always say discipline is setting yourself up for your future self.
I love that.
Right? It's like, it's this beautiful like romance where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, not because I need to be something and do something, which is kind of what I used to do all the time, right? Who do I need to be loved? And instead of that, it's like, wow, okay, if I can sit and just this morning, I went outside and I was listening to a beautiful meditation and I was looking at the sunrise, and I was going to go get on my phone for a second to like check a message. And I was like, nope. And I sat there and I was like, this is uncertain. This is an uncertain moment that just happened that is so beautiful. And now I get to be present with it and just breathe in this moment. And those are the moments that we start to stack. Like, where can I look for beauty, bliss, pleasure? And I know for women, and it is for men too, right? The number one down regulator for us is not these massive moments that we have, but rather pleasure, bliss, beauty, a sunrise, feeling this cushion beneath my ass right now, and literally feeling my sits bones sink into that. Okay, now I'm aware that I'm sitting on a cushion. Now I'm aware that I'm breathing. These small moments that we stack over time, just like the uncertain magic, is so far more valuable than overreaching and overstretching, and then we shame ourselves for failing. Does that make sense? Like
It
these
does. And
small
this
beautiful wins.
you're answering the question of how to feel safe.
That's
And
it.
this is exactly how to do that. And it's so fascinating. I'm really appreciating this conversation. I'm tracking exactly where your mind's going, and you've done so much work here, which is so incredible. When
Thank
you
you.
were first starting out, I'm trying to now, like, I can either like swim in the pool with you and just like fucking like love it, and I am, but I also want to help and like be helpful for folks who have
Of
not done this work.
course. Yeah.
When you first were in that place of dealing with the uncertainty, the fear of not being safe, what was some of that first glimmer, and maybe what you see with clients, and when you work with clients who are just starting to emerge into a hopeful sense of safety with a coach, with a facilitator, with a therapist, to begin to open that door? What does that look like for you? And what was it like for you personally? And then how do you facilitate that for your clients?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's the biggest thing in my experience, because I think that's always more helpful when, again, when I reached the bottom and that soul moment came through, like something's got to shift.
Mhm.
Found the psychotherapist. I'm sitting in his office for the first time. Mind you, I judged the fuck out of this guy because I he was in a particular religion. That was the woman that abused me was in this religion. And
Oh
so
no.
I was just like looking at this person like, absolutely fuck no. So like, if you've ever been in that situation, I get you. And really, again, I didn't feel safe, right? Like my perception of my reality was like, okay, this means this. And I think suffering really happens because the meaning that we give things to, at least it was for my experience. But coming into that and giving it a shot, because at this point I had no money. I had nowhere to go. And my mom is just like, this is what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I go in and I sit down, and it wasn't what he did for me. And this is what I also do for clients is it was a very simple thing of, how can I help you today?
Mm.
How are you? Right. And he wasn't asking me questions about my life and the trauma I had been through and all of these things. It was just a simple sense of being witnessed.
Mm.
And it sounds so simple, but it was the most profound experience for
Mm.
me. I wasn't being questioned. I wasn't being anything. And if I needed to sit there in a state of pure numbness and nothing, then he allowed that space for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I think a lot about harmonic resonance and like energy fields and like woo shit,
Yeah.
basically. And how much of this is one regulated nervous system and energetic field and chakras and like angels and cool like spiritual words being present with a dysregulated or a damaged system? How much of it is it just being in the presence of that? Maybe that's the first gate. And then when someone is, and when I say wounded and damaged, it's like I see trauma as like it's a car that got T-boned and now it's bent, and that's the trauma. It's not the actual hit. And we then
Yeah.
need to heal this, and then we
Yeah.
heal that trauma. And so when we are safe with that facilitator, it's almost, it's that harmonic resonance and entrainment, like energetic entrainment to a new regulated state that almost a little bit is like a lifeline and like a shared breathing oxygen tank of this is what it feels like to have a regulated nervous system. And then that energetic field actually extends into the other person.
That's
And
it.
we're talking about healing, but you can do that in other aspects of life, like sex, right? And we'll
Yeah.
talk about that later,
Yeah.
how we share energy in that way once you are healed. But before
That's
you
it.
can do that, you have to heal yourself. How much of it is then that nonverbal energetic state? And how can we not let our minds, you said something really beautiful, like when I'm in my mind, I'm dead, or whatever it is, but not be too much in here, but really be in here.
Yeah. Yeah. So a couple of things came up when you were approaching this question. The first thing is Gabor Mate speaks about trauma is not what happened to you; it is what happens inside of you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, that
It's
one. That.
it's what stayed.
Yeah.
Right. So again, like we could put a bunch of people in the room, and it's valid, but it wouldn't matter the thing because everybody, on in their experiences that they had, we're actually all dealing with the same like entanglement inside, right? And it just is projected out in different ways. And so it's not what happened to you, it's what happened inside of you. And that kind of brings me to the point of like, there needs to be empathetic validation 1000% when we're dealing with trauma, right? There needs to be validation and awareness, which brings me to attunement, right? Everything is relational. So in trauma, you know this very well, but we get hurt by people. That's trauma, right? And we also heal with people. And so if we have this willingness to go and give it a shot, which I believe bravery and courage, again, those are two very uncertain things. But every time we take an act of bravery, we're building on that confidence and we're building on that safety within. And what starts to happen is we're not in this pool where like we're trauma dumping and like somebody's now holding it and now we're in this like kind of toxic trauma relational dynamic, but more so a facilitator or a person in a position to hold space for you. Holding space is not fixing you because you do not need to be fixed. You need to be felt, seen, and valued and honored for your system exactly where it's at.
Right.
And so being witnessed in that moment, everything that you just said, our energy field goes out 9 feet, right?
Yeah.
You go to a party or you go to an event or whatever, and you have a conversation with someone and my system goes, I don't fucking know about this. Right? Or vice versa.
I am very polarizing, and either people, I go to the sauna is like my thing, the gym too, and people are either attracted to me or repulsed, and it's so funny to me. It's like black or white. You either love it or you hate it. And oftentimes the people that hate it are usually projecting, and then they love it afterwards.
Trigger. I always say trigger is trust the trigger to teach.
There you go. Oh, that's amazing. Trust the trigger to teach. All right. Linzee Bell. Yeah. That's great. I'm quoting that. I will quote you though. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Take it, baby.
No, I'm going to take it and quote it just like you did with Gabor Mate, who the Myth of Normal is one of my favorite books. So yes, continue, please. We're talking about you're in a party, your energetic field goes out 9 feet. Yes. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I love this. And you get a feeling, right? So our bodies communicate before our minds ever will. So for example, if somebody throws a rock at my window right now, my mind is not going to be the first thing that goes, wow, I wonder if Jerry threw that rock up here. Like, no, my body's going to go,
what the fuck?
Yes, right? My whole system's going to have a reaction. Or if I hear a gunshot or like fireworks, right? On 4th of July, it's just kind of a little bit alarming. So our body is having the reaction first because it is your number one resource to everything. Kind of like the volcanic expression. I can't say that word today that you were speaking to earlier. And so because we know that, then what happens is our body has this reaction right away, and then our mind creates a story about it. And that that is where these two kind of co-create this experience. And so when we're talking about healing the nervous system and coming into relational dynamics, we experience trauma in relational dynamics from another person, and then we also heal in a relational dynamic from another person. We have to. Our body has to get a sense of a new experience. And so to give it a new experience, it's less about like pushing, forcing, doing. And exactly what you said. Somebody here who is a neutral observer in neutrality of unconditional love that is able to sit with you, because your reactions in life, and I'll use myself as an example, my perceptions and all the triggers and my hyper vigilant, knowing how everybody felt, knowing where everybody was in the room, knowing
I know what
everybody's
you're talking
energy,
about. I know nothing about that.
right? Like this protection
Yeah.
is so like, it's alarming, but it's very valid. But over time, it hurts our life, right? We're very closed off. I have armor around my heart. I'm always thinking something bad is going to happen all the time.
Can I interrupt you really quickly? What you're saying is
Yeah.
resonating so deeply with me. So I love psychedelics. The legal use of psychedelics in Boulder, Colorado. I have to be very clear about that on air. Here in Boulder, Colorado, Prop 22, we are legally allowed to use psychedelics, one of which is DMT. And
Oh,
during
I'm
many of
coming.
my DMT, come to Colorado. My favorite is 5-MeO DMT, which is not legal in Colorado, which you can do in other locations, but here in Colorado, NN-DMT is legal. And when I'm interacting with the non-corporeals who are helping us, there are healers in those spaces too.
Yeah.
They're like, Light, and they refer to me by name. They're very polite. Lightstone, your heart is so incredibly armored, even still now. And they're like, for you to go to where you want to go, to the blast off, whatever, the place of infinite love light. They're like, it's too heavy. You got to take that armor off. Like literally, like take it off.
Like the
They're like, it is
density.
insane to us how much armor you still have. And they're like, I'm like, oh, just like take it off. Like it's like a plate. And they're like, why do you have that? I'm like, well, do you live on planet Earth? They're like, no, bro, it's this fucking shit show down there. We don't want to go down there. I'm like, no. And I was like, that's how much I love my inner child, that I keep it as protected. And it's a part. The armor is a part now for me, versus when I was younger, the armor was an outcast, and the inner child was outcast and put away. And I then was the armor. But now the armor is just, kind of like the cool tank top that I wear, and, my fun hair. Like they're now an adornment that allows me to be safe in this place. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there as that armoring piece. I don't know, that resonated with me. And I guess I wanted to share and be seen by you in this moment. So
I love you sharing. I can like see you're so visual. I love the way that you express yourself. It makes me so happy. I just feel like we're two little kids just having the best time ever.
Two trauma healers. And you're like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like right now we're having by the way, we have never talked on the phone. We have shared maybe like 6 texts, and they were great. And so right here's a perfect example of us having a relational dynamic experience, and our nervous systems are having this in real time. And like, I feel so safe. I feel like I know you for thousands of years. I feel like I see you. I feel connected to you. I feel love. I feel playfulness. It's like, this is an example too of like when you are on your journey, and when I've been on my journey, and I still am, you find your people, you find your tribe, because then you start vibrating at a different level. And instead of, myself being a match to the abuse and the things that happened to me, and rightfully so, my system was just all along, my inner child was just trying to heal those experiences. And so I wasn't just attracting them into my life. I really don't like when people say that, it's like, it's a very real thing that our system and our inner child is really just trying to heal it. And so we might keep hitting these experiences with the same kind of pattern, the same people, from such a loving place of like this part of us that's like, well, if I just can make it right here, everything will be okay. Right. But as we continue to heal in these relational dynamics, it's like relief. Okay. And then we find the next relief, and then we find the next relief. But our body is living in a world where we're told that we need to do the ice bath and we need to do the run and we need to have the structure, and these things work, right? I'm all about it. And then there's this thing underneath all of the fixing and the systems and the discipline that our bodies and our souls just need a place to rest.
Yeah.
And realize, like, wow, okay, maybe what needs to happen is my body just needs a moment of space and relief to just know that I have been in rooms my whole life where my system was on overdrive because it wasn't safe.
I didn't know, to speak to your point, I didn't know how to truly rest until probably 4 to 5 years ago. And it's because I wasn't safe and I was always on edge, and I was always in my parasympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, always, because I went to boarding school. I've talked about this on the podcast, but you probably are not aware. I went to boarding school and I was beat up like every day. It was like an internment camp for kids, like Lord of the Flies. And I had to sleep with a knife under my pillow to like literally protect myself from kids busting in the middle of the night. I know, so bad. And like to tie my belt around the door so the door wouldn't open, like the kids wouldn't come in, and they'd just like beat kids in the middle of the night. So that was like literally like sleeping and like with holding a knife under your belt. It's crazy. It was like you're like 13, 14 years old.
I'm so sorry. I just need to say it.
Well, I mean, like it turned, like strong. What is it, like tough times make tough guys? So like fucking bad.
You found your purpose. Shame is the greatest source of your power, baby.
I feel good about it. Like I don't know. I'm very happy with where, again, it's like in the hindsight, it has created a very strong male archetype now. But at the time, it was really shitty. So I wasn't able to actually ever relax. I didn't even know what that felt like, and because I never felt safe, and so I then also didn't know how to apply my own power in a safe way or in relationship. And with, to their credit, both of my ex-wives were very, very verbal about, this is what they don't like, but I didn't know how to fix that. I didn't know what to do. And so how can we now apply this healing in relationship? And what you're talking about is, and I think Freud would call it repetition compulsion. We come back to and we continuously like replay these patterns. I like to think about it, it's like if you want to learn how to do a kickflip on a skateboard, you got to go off of a jump. And sometimes you are going to fall a couple times, but that jump is to then learn the thing. And then now you can go off the jump and do a kickflip. And it's not actually the jump itself. It's like how you navigate and manage that situation. And so then you can hit the ramp or hit the, whatever it is. I'm actually not a very good skateboarder, but, never learned how to kickflip.
Great description.
I know, right? I'm trying my best. Tony Hawk, guys. That's my skateboarding experience, playing video games. So what does that look like now for you as you look at and enter? We talk a lot on this podcast about relationships and dating and marriage and divorce and sex and all these things. It's so like vibrant and vital for humans, and I think also non-humans too. You can ask the Nephilim all about that. They seem to think that women are super hot and want to impregnate them. Hopefully. I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. But from this perspective, how do you apply this now in your life now as an adult in relationship to maximize for joy, love, pleasure, sex, fun, all the good things?
Yeah. What comes to mind right away when you said that is I'm a firm believer in my nervous system and what I've seen with clients and a lot of people that I'm connected with, and even in relationships as well, is in order to experience a new version of yourself, right? Or in order to be connected to your essence and continue down the path of liberation, is to have a new experience, right? So, for example, I'm a dancer and I've danced my whole life. I'll tell this quick story. It'll make sense to you. And when I was younger, I was in a girl group. I was signed to Def Jam. It was my lifelong journey.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Fun.
That's super cool.
I grew up real fast.
All right.
And at 16, I was living in Atlanta. I graduated school online. It's like the coolest experience of my life. But I
Wow.
also had all this stuff still lingering inside of me, right? And
Mhm.
so performance kind of came my way of receiving love. So it was a big deal, and it's something that's still very a part of my life, and I will continue to do just in a different way, right? But it was something that I wanted so bad. I wanted to take it all the way through. Well, my soul had other plans. My destiny had other plans. And so life happened. I had my baby and all these things. And I really just like let that dream go. Right. And I kind of stopped dancing and singing for a portion of my life when I was going through all of that with my siblings and stuff. And so when I came back dancing, because what I learned working with my psychotherapist and on my healing journey is play, play, and any sense of something that brings you the smallest amount of joy. It could be cooking a meal for yourself. It could be going on a walk. It could be skateboarding. It could be going to the gym, right? For me, it was dance. And what I learned is if you allow yourself to play, no matter what's going on in your life, and you give yourself a shot at play, you will be so surprised what happens and opens up for you. And so I took that on. I tried it on. I started dancing again. And I went to ayahuasca, and the medicine the whole time was like, keep dancing, keep dancing, keep dancing. I'm like having this Kundalini thing. I'm being crowned by stars in my experience. And I'm like,
Mhm.
so I come home and I dance, and I'm just doing it for me. I'm just doing it for my inner child. There's no other meaning or purpose behind it. And sure as shit, a choreographer calls me and she's like, "Hey, the Super Bowl's coming to town, and I really think you should audition for it." And I'm
Amazing.
like, I don't think I'm gonna get it. Right. I had like let the dream go, the expectation of it needing to happen. Lo and behold, I auditioned, and it was for Rihanna's Super Bowl, and I got it, and I got to go do this dream.
Oh
Right.
shit, that's so cool.
It was so fucking cool. And the reason I share this with you is because there's a couple things. Again, a new experience and like being in the room or like going with the facilitator that is safe, right? And having that relational dynamic. Your body is getting a whole different experience than what happened in the experience with trauma. So just being in the room with somebody who's a different vibrational match, or just being in the room of dancing again with people I really love to be around, or going to sit in medicine with other people, right? Your body's generating this new experience, which is allowing for the nervous system to open and allowing for relief and allowing for more belief to keep going within yourself. So I share that because having these new experiences and kind of tying it to, what do you love to do? What did you love to do when you were 8? What is the thing that like lit your life on fire that you just love to do? Or maybe it was younger or later in life. And you constantly give yourself a new experience in a positive way, and being open and willing to be brave along the journey to keep going, as well as having detachment of needing something to happen from it. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Do you know, are you aware that I'm a dancer? I don't know if you know that. Yeah, I'm a
I mean,
dancer.
I
Yeah,
saw in your
maybe.
story that you
Yeah,
were like doing
yeah,
some dancing things, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, this is
yeah.
new. I
So,
love
so,
this.
so I danced in. So I used to be a professional martial artist, and I was training very, very, very intensely in high school. This is actually kind of a funny story. And my martial arts instructor, I was training every day. It was an apprenticeship, like literally every day for like 2 hours every day, is like a sophomore, junior, and senior in high school, and then even before then. So like very dedicated to martial arts. And my instructor, and it was to defend myself in boarding school from those kids that were fucking kicking the shit out of me.
Amen.
I know, seriously. Oh, it worked. And so my martial arts instructor said, "Hey, I'm doing a semester abroad. I'm going to Spain." And I was like, you fucking asshole, like, you're abandoning me. And I already have like anxious attachment disorder as a kid. I'm like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
like I'm going to Spain now. What do I need to do to go to Spain? Like, I am going to Spain. Like, fuck you. I will drop out of college and just go to Spain. Like, or drop out of high school and just go to Spain, whatever, doesn't matter.
Oh,
Um,
I want to
and
go
he
there
was
so
like,
bad.
no, you're staying here. I will be back in 3 months. You'll be fine. I've already talked to the dance instructor. You're going to do modern dance. And I'm like, for fuck, I'm not like, no,
For
like, no,
fuck's
I'm
sake,
not going to
no.
do modern dance in the dance studio. Like, no, absolutely not. And my name was not Light then. I legally changed it, but I'm going to self-reference as Light. And he goes, Light, bro, 2 reasons. One, it's going to make you a much better martial artist. And 2, there's only one other dude there. He's a guy and he's gay and it's filled with women. So yes, you're doing dance. And I was like, huh, okay, cool. And so I then developed this relationship with dance, and I, came back to it and loved it. But later on in life, and this is kind of to your point, and I'm finding some harmonic resonance with your story. After my second divorce, I had been a stage performer with my ex-wife. We did a lot of cool, fun things, but it wasn't really very embodied physically. And I wanted to really bring that back into my experience. And so several years ago, and I've been doing this now for years, I went back and I started taking dance classes again and started dancing. And it started actually just going out to clubs and dancing just by myself. And I was not looking for chicks. I was like very much I'm healing now from a divorce, but I want to move. I want to move my body. I don't want to do martial arts. I'm still lifting in the gym, but I want to move. I want to have that Kundalini experience. I just love EDM music. And from that place of no expectations, because most guys usually when they go out to a club, they're cruising for chicks, and that's fine. Like, whatever, if that's what you want to do. I don't do that. I don't look for women out in a club. I'll go to a club with a woman, but I won't look for one there. That's not the watering hole that you find something at. That's where you go, dance. And from that perspective, I then have leveraged that by taking classes where I'm now one of Denver's premier dancers, actually, for males. And there are many better dancers that I dance with, and I'm honored to share the stage with them. They've been doing it longer and they're much more proficient, but I dance all over Denver. And this thing that I'm doing now with Magnetic Moon, I think that you referenced, we have this dance performance for belly dancing. And that's like this like wild new thing for me of belly dancing. What does it mean to be like a 210 pound, I'm 6% body fat male belly dancing, straight guy belly dancing, like shaking my hips, and like,
I need to come to fucking Denver,
yeah,
okay?
well, I'll tell you what, like, I look in the mirror at myself and it's so interesting to see the beauty of that dance and how it's transformed, what I'm learning about my body. And this goes to you're as an embodiment coach, to like really be in our bodies in this new radical way, also with no expectation. It's like, yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that. I really am finding harmonic resonance with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I hear from you and as well as myself, right? It's like what it really feels like is a new level of intimacy. So I know for me, like I would perform or do things to get something, right?
Yeah.
Whether it was validation, attention, to fill this place in my heart,
Yep.
right? Of course. But in this way, this new level of intimacy within my own skin and not needing to dance sexy to perform, but rather be so intimate
Dance for
with my
you. What
bones.
does it feel like for you when you are dancing, but you are dancing for you, not for someone else? And then that's how I dance on stage. I'm dancing for me, and I allow myself to be art, to be witnessed of my own self-appreciation, not because I think I'm beautiful. I do think I'm beautiful. Not because I think I'm a good dancer, although I do think I'm a good dancer, is because it feels good for me to be embodied and moving with the beat of the music and flowing. And I allow others to witness that. And if you like it, look. And if you don't look.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so this is like bringing us into the flow of like when that inner intimacy is there. First of all, I don't think sexy is how someone looks. I think it's an essence.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody carrying intimacy within themselves, like they know themselves, their self-respect, there's boundaries, they're grounded, they're themselves, right? Like that is hot. That's sexy. Yeah, I don't care what you look like. You have that essence of like that you are just uniquely you. I love it. I eat it up. And in the same notion, right, being so, I teach this beautiful embodiment practice where we use breath and connect it with movement, but we're dancing like our bodies are bringing the music alive instead of the other way around. So for example, it'd be like an inhale,
Yeah.
I open, exhale, and I contract. And I find these like spaces in my body. Where do I need to open? Where does she need to open? And where does she need to feel the tension and
Mm,
move and
mm,
become that
mm,
like animalistic essence, right? And so
mm.
in this intimacy with our skin, with our body, and what's happening inside, this brings sex in the bedroom
I was literally
so
I was
much
literally saying,
more
so now how do we
alive.
then dance in the bedroom? Yeah, this is great. This
Yeah.
is great. We're very much on rails here on the same rails. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's like when you're connected to your breath, I'll just speak for a woman because I am a woman. There was a point in my life where, first of all, I mean, I was dating because I wanted to experience love and I was having sex way too fast, right? And I was performing, right?
Yep.
And so where when I started to respect my body, respect these things, I started to understand like Tantra, for example, life force energy. It's just breath, right? You start with breath. And a woman, if your vagina is clenched during sex, you are not going to experience an orgasm.
Okay.
And so for a woman to
Unless it's
feel
clenching and
relaxed,
pulling, which is
yeah,
different.
exactly,
Yeah.
intentionally.
Yeah, right. And that's a pulling. And it's actually a lovely extraction of I
Yeah,
want what you
come
got inside of
here.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's different.
totally.
Yep.
Super different.
Yep.
But to be able to do a practice like what I was just doing, I share that with women all the time to get your body in your womb and your yoni to get to that relaxed point. Now you're actually in your body. When you are breathing inside of your body and from that place, your experience with intimacy and sex becomes so alive because you're primal, you're connected to her, you're listening to her, you're not trying to perform. And this level of connection is everything. It's everything. Yeah, it just like popped in and out.
All right, we're back. So this conversation is so electric; it's literally fritzing out our our tech and sound for the second time. Sparks are figuratively flying over there. The batteries are going wild.
Circuits are blowing.
So circuits are blowing. We're channeling in higher dimensional sexy time Kundalini energies. I don't even like continue wherever it was that you were talking about that broke our servers.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Let's go back. I think I was just talking about your breath as a woman, right? Being
It's so powerful,
so
it literally
connected.
will reshape the universe around you and break technology, the power of orgasms. Here,
The
so
divine feminine.
I'll let's lean into that real quick.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on single explosive orgasms versus rolling orgasms and
Mm.
orgasms in one setting? Like let's talk about that just for fun, because literally that's earth shattering and you just broke our technology.
Well, I would say I never have an expectation
Okay.
of like how my orgasm is going to come. I'm the
Sure.
kind of person where I'm like, all right, universe, all right, God, all right, higher self, what wants to come through? What is this experience for? So when I'm experiencing intimacy or like I'm having a self pleasure practice, for example, sometimes I really like to incorporate future manifestation with this. I'll visualize and I can really connect with my body in that way and like receive a level of turn on. So that would be more like, pussy massage and more of a clitoral orgasm or whatever wants to come through. And sometimes I might just want to hold myself and touch myself and make my body feel super safe. And it will grow and expand. And all of a sudden I'm like, woo, having the most beautiful full body orgasm, that I can have. But when it comes to with partners or people that I'm exploring sexually with, it's more of like, God, like this, my intention is to be so deep and present with this person and co-regulate our breath. And the more connected and the slower we go and the more presence that's there, and like, you know, touch my body and tickle my body for at least 20-30 minutes, honey, before we go anywhere else. Because the skin and the way that for females, our nervous system, that foreplay is everything. And you can have a full body orgasm without even needing to be touched on your clitoris or entered, right?
Yeah.
So
I try to talk to young men about this, and like, and we got one here in the studio here, but and the young men, and they think they know what sex is. Young men, I'm looking at you. You think you know what sex is? You don't. Like, and it's okay that you don't. When I was a young man, I
welcome
also
to the
didn't know
tea
about sex.
party.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You can learn in time what sex really is.
Yep.
And it's not about just like smash, like, oh, I want to smash. No, you have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah. And so
less Pound Town, okay? We're gonna start slow.
yeah. And that is something that in time, like, it can wave and undulate, but it's not, it actually, you're just like fucking, like, you're like, that's not sex. And so this co-regulation of like harmonizing, like we've come to talk about orgasm through healing, feeling safe, connecting with another person, connecting with yourself, embodiment through dance, and then eventually, finally, now to the co-sharing of joyous sexual energy, slowly and gently, that then leads to eventual orgasm. And for women, you ladies are very lucky. You get to do a lot of these. I mean, like, a lot. Like,
women can have multiple orgasms in
how
many
many, if you don't
different
mind
ways.
sharing, how many of you had in a single session?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever like kept count, but I
You want a trick for keeping count? You want a trick for keeping count? All right, get a mason jar, and you can get a roll of pennies, or quarters are a little too big. Get a roll of pennies or dimes or nickels, and you just throw one into the mason jar.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And
that's
if you run out, then you're in the over 100 club.
Yeah, usually after, I'm just like, I need a hookah, I need a bath, I need some chocolate.
Yeah. So
I'm just like melting into my experience.
How far down through your roll of nickels do you think you've gotten in a single experience? And you can be spread out over a couple of hours, but like in an evening.
I mean, I can't necessarily think of a number, but I know the experience that I had, right? It was like, again, ladies have the same experience. Like, a lot of women, and I teach a lot of women this, are very disconnected from their wounds. Number one, because they either have sexual trauma, and men do too. And there's a lot that needs to be cleared so that you can actually feel her.
Oh my
God, a lot
of
women, that space is very numb. So again, sensation awareness and building on that and creating safety. But when you reach that level and you have this experience, I know for me, it was this long, like, drawn out, beautiful experience of, like, you know, first eye gazing and really co-regulating with your breath then, and having, you know, multiple orgasms, just like from touch, like you can just feel the electricity. And when a male is deeply connected to himself, I mean, I had this experience where my partner was deeply connected to his breath and using his hands and doing energy attunement over it. That's like a very real thing. It's
very real. I was literally just going to say that. You're reading my mind. Keep going.
Yeah. You can literally play with the energy of the body.
And bring women to an orgasm just with that.
Yes, absolutely. Because
in my
there's
direct
so
personal
much
experience.
Yeah. And it was like what we were talking about earlier, how your energy field goes out 9 feet. It's the same thing, right? We sense a person, and if it's like, that's a no for me or that's a yes for me, it's that same energy in the sexual essence as well. And so, like, a partner using their hand, like if you were to rub your hands together right now, I can't do it because I'm holding the mic. Yep. And then clap 1, 2, 3. Yep. And then bring your palms together here, creating a little bit of space. And you start to just go in and out as if you were playing with putty. You can literally feel the energy between your palms. What are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling love light in my palms, and no place to put it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like this is fucking real. It's like you're holding a ball of
Yeah.
energy, of light.
I'll
And
put it back in
so
my heart just because
yes, exactly. You put it on your
that
body
feels like
wherever you
that
have.
feels like an ethical place for it to be in this moment.
It's perfect. So playing with this when you're attuned to each other, you can play with so many facets of orgasm, connection, intimacy, and the deepest, beautiful, sensual, erotic experiences of your
Yeah.
life. Yes.
So
And we all deserve it.
I'll share a quick story, and I always try to be very, very careful about how I share, because I know that eventually I will be married again someday. I look forward to it. Wife number
Yeah.
3, and I'm
She's
sure that
coming.
she will be watching this, and so I always want to speak about my past sexual experiences very respectfully, very honestly, and also in a way that I both respect and that my future wife will respect too, but also sharing from an open and honest place. So this time that I was having sex with this young woman who was my girlfriend at the time, who was not my future wife, um, it was I was able to connect with her. She was a fellow dancer. I really appreciate dancers as a dancer, and we were able to connect. And our relationship didn't work out. We didn't connect on all levels, but we were able to connect on this level, where I could breathe into my heart and really breathe in, and then breathe that energy into her, and she would come. Now, she's already like probably like 15, 20, 30, 40 orgasms deep in her, rolling orgasm experience. So it's easy to kind of flip that switch again when you're that deep in my experience. And she was a little neurospicy. So like her central nervous system was, wired a little differently. Some women have in my experience, have very explosive orgasms. Others, it's
Yeah.
rolling and then like does a huge, large roll. But this notion of we are energetic beings in physical bodies. Our energy fields extend beyond our physical bodies. There's so much ramifications of this. We're currently talking about sex, so we'll keep it to that. You can take that energy and you can, with consent and with love, hopefully with love. I choose to only do it in that way, but with love, push that energy into, and it's pushing in a good, fun, friendly way into their field, and then spark something inside of your partner. For young men, hear me. Do you have sex this way? No, you don't. You don't. And it's okay, but you don't know how to do that yet. I didn't know how to do that. And that's something that if you like sex, raise your hand. Maybe you should think about learning and think about then how can you be in service to yourself? Because self-serve, that's fine. Have it be pleasurable for you. And then service to your partner, of really serving her. And it's not about, in my mind, submission. You're serving and you're giving a gift of yourself to her. That's my little speech on that one.
I gotta say this too, because you sparked something in me. And like what I really teach women, and this goes along the same lines, right? If a woman is not receiving, right? She's closed off and she doesn't know how to receive. It's going to be very challenging to have this experience. And some of those experiences for me where I wasn't receiving, and like you said, having different experiences with partners that I don't like to label something as good or bad. It's just an experience that I learned from. And when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So it's always a beautiful thing. But for women, being able to learn how to receive and how simple that can be, like receiving a compliment, right? If you can't even receive a compliment, that says a lot about where the state of your body is. And it's so important for us to be able to receive.
So for the young women listening,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of one in particular, who I know will be listening to this, and I don't think that she has a problem with this, but that's kind of the archetype of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
What can you say as an experienced person, as an experienced dancer, healing coach, embodiment coach, love maker, all of this, and drawing back from like, okay, healing, receiving a compliment, receiving a penis, receiving, a phallus.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it's a spectrum, right?
Yep.
We have, over here we have you have a nice haircut, and then we have like Shiva Lingam. right? Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm covered in Shiva tattoos, by the
I
way.
love
Yeah,
it.
Shiva Lingam. Several national holidays just to Shiva Lingam. For those of you who don't know what
Mm.
Shiva Lingam is, it is Shiva's phallus, Shiva's cock. It is so very, very lovely and wonderful that there are national holidays in India just for Shiva's penis. It's that good. It's truly that good. So before you can receive something that good, I'm hearing, and I totally agree with you, that you have to learn how to receive a compliment. And
Yeah,
again, it's not bad that you don't know how to do that, trauma and
totally.
wounding and all this. So what is that transition like? And what would you say to the young women who are like, they're like, I don't fucking know about that Shiva Lingam shit, maybe, but like, I'm curious about understanding how this looks from your perspective.
Yeah. I mean, what works for me and what does work for me is simplifying everything, right? So I was the worst at receiving compliments. And it was because I'm not bad or anything like that. I just didn't know how. And again, going back to what we were saying, circling back to the beginning of the conversation of having armor around my heart, I received something in a relational dynamic that was not safe. So, in my body and my experience, I'm seeing receiving as unsafe. I have a projection of it, I have a subconscious belief about it. So, I'm not going to let anything enter. Right. And I break that down because we can often shame ourselves when we're hearing people talk about things. It's like, well, they have it all together. Absolutely. Nobody has it all together, first of all. And we're all here learning together. And so just bringing a lot of like compassion in, there's nothing wrong with you if you can't receive a compliment. It's more so just understand like how we do one thing is how we do everything. That's how I learned about all of this. It's like if I can't experience miracles in the micro moments of life, how am I going to be able to hold and
Shiva
withstand
Lingam
the
specifically.
macro? Huh?
How are you going to be able to hold Shiva Lingam specifically?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like,
yeah,
there's just no way it's going to
yeah,
be too much. So
impossible.
it's like the micro things are the most important. So, like, how do we simplify everything, make it so simple and tangible so that we can build off of that? And so the compliment thing is like, just notice yourself. Like, I used to be this person where somebody would give me a compliment and be like, oh no, like that's,
And
I
even
was
as
just,
even as like a Def Jam dancer, like obviously like
yeah,
you're killing it, right? Like, so
yes.
why do you think it was hard then? And maybe it's the armoring.
It's the armoring. And also, I had such low self worth, right?
There
I
you go.
always thought I
Okay.
needed to be better. I
Yeah.
always thought I needed to be fixed or that I was constantly chasing perfection
Yeah.
because in my mind, this hypervigilance, all the things that I had been through,
Was that because
I
someone
felt
I'm
unloved.
thinking of like why was I that way? It's because my
Yeah.
mom told me I was fucking bad and wrong and evil and like all these horrible things because she was
Oh, sweet
also wounded.
baby.
I know, right?
Yeah,
So was it because you had a narrative playing that you
totally.
were indoctrinated into from an external source, probably a caregiver?
Yes. So my stepmom, right? Like
Yeah.
I was brought into a closet when nobody was there and physical abuse and things were happening, just really kind of like weird stuff.
Mm.
And I didn't tell anyone for a long time because I was so afraid of what she would do next.
Mm.
And then what really started the languaging and the patterning is, she would do these things and then she would take out the Book of Mormon and apologize. So she would use
Jesus.
religion, yeah, to kind of like cover her tracks, right? And then
Oh.
when my dad found out, he did nothing. And so my sense of belonging in the world, feeling protected by my father, who's supposed to be your main source of protection. I
Fuck
love my
yeah. Yeah.
dad.
Daddy's got your back. Yeah.
And I love my dad. We have a great relationship now because I got to a point where I was able to express everything. I felt my anger, I felt my rage, and I accept my dad now. I truly do. I accept him. I love him. We have boundaries, but that's a whole other story. But I just want to share that it is possible, right, to get to this place. But because of all of that, you can imagine, right? And it sounds like you went through this with your mom. these caregivers are our first sense of belonging in the world. It's our
sense of
first
self.
sense of who we are,
Yeah.
right? It's our
Yeah.
personality and how we receive love, how we give love, how we protect ourselves, and what our patterns are. And so this looping of like, I'm not worthy of being protected, I'm not seen, I'm not validated, I have to hide, I have to do things in the dark, right? Created this narrative. And so all of a sudden, my behaviors and how I thought of myself was a very low sense of self-worth. And when that was too loud, I would drink. And that's where me becoming an alcoholic, because I just couldn't bear to even be with myself.
Right.
And so I share this all in all to say, again, life is happening for me. And it has brought me to my knees. But I think that when you are dripping in gold, dripping in orgasm, dripping in your essence, nobody fucking gets there from nothing, right?
Yeah.
You look at some of the most incredible people that are probably people that you're really drawn to. I know they have a story. Everybody
they've been
has
through
a
shit.
story.
Yeah, they've been through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is like your dripping in gold moment. So, you know, wherever you are on your journey, there's no rush, there's no timeline, and you're enough as you are. And if I can share anything with anyone, it's you are not a problem to be fixed. You are not a problem to be solved. And this is all a part of the process. And you're enough exactly as you are.
Can I ask you a question? So, and I love everything we're talking about. So something that I've been kind of just like dealing with / trying to ponder and like really trying to internalize for myself in relationship is how to not fall in love with someone's potential.
Oof.
So, right. So like you have, like, I can see people's potential and I then falling in love with this idea of who they are. And so like when they're on, let's say they're learning some of this trajectory of their dismantling some of the negative self-talk that they have, that they inherited from a caregiver or society, whatever, but usually it's primary caregiver. And how then in relationship can you like be super present and focused, not overextend, but then also not settle? Because it's like this weird trifecta of, okay, don't fall in love with their potential, don't settle, but then still be in the moment. And you're like, fuck, like it's a hard spot.
Yeah. I mean, this is huge. I was always in relationships where I just like was hoping that I would be chosen and hoping that they would commit and dating their potential and holding on to the cookie crumbs, right? Like the cookie crumb relationship, because any sense of like love that I could get out of them, I was just like, oh, thank God. It like felt like a drink of fresh air.
Did you feel more of like anxiously attached in that way?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And, you know, as I started to learn about this, and first of all, I was single for a really long time. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not looking anymore. I'm going to choose to date myself. 1000%. And then when I was ready to like reemerge back into the dating world, and I'm going to speak for women on this because I know it's a little bit different for men because our hormones are different. The way we operate are different. Women, we have a 27, 28 day cycle. Men operate off of a 24-hour cycle. We are very different. But for women, I know in particular, what I believe and what I've noticed has been really beautiful and fascinating in my experiences. I believe that the men that I've dated, especially in the past and like recently, they've always been attracted to when I am in full relationship with myself.
Interesting.
So meaning like, yes, I'm there and I'm present, but I'm not trying to fix him.
Right.
I'm not trying to overgive. I'm committed to the relationship with myself more than anything else. And that is highly attractive.
This is really good advice for men too. Cause I'm trying to think like, okay, how, like when I'm doing that, well, that's when I magnetize women to me. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then if I then
Totally.
overextend, then they're like, then it's yeah. But because I'm not then actually in a good relationship with myself. Continue. I'm just like mirroring back. Please
Yes.
continue. Yeah.
And it's like if I'm so committed to giving myself the love that I'm seeking for, and truly, like we all have needs. We all need things. And when you're in a relationship, it's very important to talk about those things and also have very clear boundaries. And I also believe like when you're in relationship, we're going to trigger those inner child wounds, and it's going to come up no matter how long you've been married, no matter how long you've been in a relationship for. And I think it's for a greater purpose to continue to heal. But when I'm so committed to, for example, my devotional practice in the morning, like there was a time where I'd get in partnership and I'd start to lose my practice, right? I'd start to like kind of lose myself in that relationship. But then when I go back to it, I feel centered, I feel grounded. And now I'm not needing him to fill my void. I'm not reaching for him to make me feel better because I'm working on that relationship with myself. And from that level of groundedness and wholeness, I'm able to now meet him where he's at. And
Yeah.
now we can move together,
How
right?
do you,
We're
how do
not
you,
codependent.
I love all of this. What is your decision-making matrix? I record a lot of solo videos where I share my experience
Yeah,
for young men. Yeah, I hope that it is helpful for them of kind of what I'm
of
learning.
course it is.
I hope so. So what is your decision-making matrix around like I call it not crown. I actually haven't done a video on this. I will, but I call it not crowning too early, like crowning the queen. But like, I don't know.
I love that.
I
It's
want, I
true.
want a queen, yo. You're right. Like, I want a
Yes,
queen.
it's
Like king
important.
here. Like, so, but I've noticed in the past I've crowned too early. And it's about, I think, also falling in love with this person's potential. But then how do you not settle? So let's say you're super connected to yourself and you magnetize someone to you. How do you not crown that person too early, and then also not, and how do you gatekeep your sexuality by keeping it sacred and
That's
not
it.
giving that part of yourself away too freely? And I'm not trying to sex shame myself or others or you or anyone, but like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, when we were talking earlier, when I was dating before, I would have sex really too soon and share that part of my body. And as you just said, for women and men, your body, your sexuality, I often say when I'm surrendered to a man and we're being intimate and we're making love, I'm not giving that to him. My surrender is an offering.
Mm,
I
mhm.
am
Like
offering
a
my
gift. It's a
surrender to you,
gift. It's a
right?
gift. It's a gift.
Exactly.
It's a gift.
And so, as I've gone through the trial and tribulations myself of having this experience and quite honestly feeling very empty inside, is I kind of took a different route. And it was like, okay, I choose to not be intimate, at least for like the first 3 months.
Mhm.
And that can look different for anybody. And, when you feel it and you're in the moment, listen to yourself, right? There's no clear thing on this, but it's just something that I did for myself.
Mhm.
Because what I noticed is you really don't start to know someone until like 3, 6 months, right? That whole first year is all about exploration and
Yeah.
learning and discovering, your personalities and what you like and what you don't like and what triggers you and all those different things. So, not like
It's
you
the next
said,
morning. So it's like, and I've had this
yeah,
experience too and I don't do one night stands, but I'll date and I can like in a weekend basically like cram in like a month worth of conversation
totally.
with someone just because like I don't shut the fuck up. And also listen. And usually I'm with someone who also does not shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. And I have this concept of it's like, okay, the next morning when I'm cooking you breakfast, how do you show up to that? What is it like? Like, yes, I blew your mind. You had more orgasms than you ever had in your whole life. Awesome. Great. Now what? What is it like now when I'm literally serving you food in my kitchen? How do you show up? And let's say we like get into it because we're talking about whatever and we're like overtired because we just had sex for, like a lot of time and we're also like freaking out. And let's say that the proverbial altar catches fire. What I want is I want my beloved to bring blankets, water, and then breakfast. And I'll even do the breakfast. But like, but if the altar catches fire, how then does my partner show up? And oftentimes, people, and maybe it's just because they're young women, I don't know, like they'll fucking run because I think it's too intense for them. They're like, their whole energetic system is now like, they didn't even realize what sex was now, and it's like so intense for them. And so it's like that crown, and it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna put the crown back on the, you know,
Yeah.
back on the altar that you lit on fire. So how do you navigate that choice during that several month period, which feels very healthy? I'll usually throw it into like a week and a half, 2 weeks, just because I don't know. I do like time compression.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I'm curious your experience.
Yeah, I mean, something that has been really deep that I have learned in my experience is like there has to be a level of like awareness, right, between two people. And I will also argue to say that it's not the experience that's hard, it's actually allowing the love in
Hmm,
that we're looking for. And
hmm,
oftentimes allowing that love in requires vulnerability. It requires my surrender, right? You're accessing the most vulnerable parts of my heart,
hmm.
my womb, all of it.
It should,
And
it should, in my opinion, and not humble opinion, it is my non-humble opinion. I'm very adamant about this. It should be the most sacred and
yeah,
important thing that you do with another person. That is what sex is.
absolutely.
Full stop, bar none. I will fight. I will
Yeah,
not fight you specifically, but I will fight someone on this,
we
and
can fight.
I will win. I will beat you. I will beat you in that fight.
Yeah,
I am a professional
it's
martial
a
artist. I will beat you.
temple.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
if that is not what you bring to the table around sex, I think you
Yep.
are wrong. And I think you are doing sex wrong. And I think you're doing relationship wrong. Now,
Yeah.
the issue is most people don't think that way. And so it's like
Yep.
you're then trying to pull from a sample size of like, I don't know. For me, I guess one, I'm just looking for one. And it's like that's the weird kind of space that I'm in. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
So like,
sex is also cheap dopamine for a lot of people,
yeah,
right?
such a
So
good point.
cheap dopamine is like Instagram and this. It's like the quickest way to like get your socks off and feel wanted and seen and validated. But if you don't want yourself and you don't see yourself and you don't respect your body, which that was me. I'm not saying like I was there, right? Like it's not going to feel connected, and then when you do feel vulnerable, you're either going to be anxiously attached and want more out of that person, or you're going to fucking run away because now you feel exposed. And if you've had a lot of relational dynamics, it's going to feel unsafe. A
How do
lot of
you
times
use
people
your
do that.
body as as a signal for yourself to know when it is and is not appropriate? So how
Mm,
when you are embodied, how do you know when to go to the next gate eventually, which would be the crowning? And for you, crowning your king, right?
yeah,
Because it's a
totally.
mutual crowning. Like
Yeah.
even if the king already has his own crown, you're giving him your crown because it's your gift, right? How do you use your body to know how what yeah.
I'll speak for myself, right? Like in about a year ago, I was dating someone and it was a really beautiful experience. We had beautiful lovemaking. He was really invested, so was I. And then my body just started to feel like off a little
Mhm,
bit.
mhm.
And for me, my first signal that something is off or it's not quite a match is I actually get very irritated.
Mhm.
That's like my sense, like irritation, something's
So
off. And sure,
the ick, it's the like the
yeah, it's like like something's just off here. There's like
yeah.
an irritation as opposed to when I've had the healthier dynamic after that, it's more of like, okay, like I have a desire to sit and communicate about our experiences where the irritation for me was like, I feel like this person's hiding something, right? So, like, both people have to be on board with being able to have the same desires. And that's why I think before you even open your temple in your body,
Yeah.
you have to communicate what your values are, what you
Mm,
stand for, what you believe in,
and that
what's
takes
important
time.
to
It
you.
takes
It
time.
takes, and it's
Yeah.
so important
Hate
because,
that.
like,
I hate that it takes time. Like that's such it's such a that is an edge for me. It's like
yeah,
I think because I'm so intense and I'm so like here, I'm so here. And
yeah,
and so few people are that
the
way that
fire,
then
yeah,
learning how to like be gentle and
That's
slow.
it.
But then I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, are you here or are you not here? Like, where the fuck are, like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, are you
Yeah,
paying attention to
present.
this?
And
Yeah.
like even that, like if somebody can't be present and have a simple conversation with you about something that's important to them, I think it boils down to, do you really want to get to know this person in
Yeah.
totality? Do you
Yeah.
really want to get to know their personality
Or are you falling
before
in
their
love with some
body?
idea of them or their potential or even
Yes,
just some fantasy that you have because you think that
that's it.
that's fun? Yeah.
And like so, right, like sex, the cheap dopamine. And also I know in the past, like I always dated like a certain kind of guy that looked a certain way.
Mhm.
And like literally I'm like so icked by that now, right? It doesn't even
Mhm.
matter to me, the physical eye, but that can be something for a lot of people, is like
Mhm.
we chase what we think we need to visually have
Yep.
in our life.
Mhm.
And so again, this is all pointing back to self. Like everything I judge is actually within me. So coming in right relationship with our own self, knowing, for men out there, right, doing your shadow work and getting your cock connected to your heart,
Yep.
not your fucking head,
So
but
important.
both of those
Oh my God.
together.
I tell people
Yeah.
this all the time. You have to link this and this, and
Yes.
this and this connected to your heart. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. I know so much. All right. So
We did
I
it.
don't even know what time it is. I don't even know how long we've been talking.
I know. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Let me check the calendar here.
we're pulling
Okay.
up. I
I
love
know.
this. We
It's
could
such a
go
great
for
conversation.
hours.
So this is just going to be part 1 of a series that we're doing now. Congratulations.
Yes.
We'll have you come into to the studio here in Boulder. You can also record here with Babe Philosophy too. So I'm actually I'll soft announce it now. I'm pitching this to the CEO of this company of Let's Do Podcast to do actually kind of like a cool show called The Prism, hosted by Lightstone, where we're going to basically have roundtable discussions about things like this with multiple guests. I know, pretty fucking cool, right?
Badass.
In person, because they're building a new right over there, building a new studio area with couches and a whole deal. It's going to be a really cool setup. And so you and I will definitely talk again on this podcast. And I'd love to, if you do a podcast, it'll be on yours, whatever's fun. So we'll continue talking, but these types of charged conversations and electric conversations, I think, are what people need to be talking about and what people need to be thinking about. And I know I need to be thinking about it as an individual for my own
same.
healing and growth and development. And I know for fuck's sake the Gen Zs do, because when I talk to them in the gym, oh my God, I like want to shake them by the shoulders and be like, you little man child, like, what are you doing with your life? And I wish someone
I'm
had done
raising
that to
one,
me.
so I'm like, I'm all about it. Yes.
Yeah. So we could continue going for another 3 hours. Instead, we're just going to schedule another call and we'll have you back on the podcast. What either feels super important to close out on, something that you really want to share, and then also where can people get a hold of you, your Instagram, your coaching website, the people who obviously now, if you're a woman, good God, I would hire this person to help you become embodied. Holy shit. Yeah. Fucking give her money and help her help you help yourself and whatever guy who's lucky enough to receive the gift of you. Yeah. Where can they get a hold of you, and anything else that you want to share, please do.
You're so sweet, and right back at you. I feel the same about you. This is just such a delicious moment and conversation that we're having. It means so much to me. Thank you for trusting me and having this experience.
I know. I told you, it's like, should we just go in and just raw dog it? I was like, let's do it.
That's how we roll, baby. We got to raw dog this shit. Come on now.
Papers,
right?
please.
Embracing uncertainty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Oh, hi, Koa. This is my baby Koa.
There we go.
So for those of you out there listening, my name is Linzee Bell. You can find me at www.linzeebell.com, and that is spelled LINZEEBELLE. So come there, come say hi, come journey with me, come dance with me, come have a conversation with me. And yeah, I mean, the thing that I'll say lastly is have some fucking fun. If you do anything today, go out in the world, say hi to a stranger, give your energy, and allow yourself to play so much more than you might think you're having right now. It will change your whole life. It will change your whole world. And yeah, I just look forward to the next conversation and to see where this takes us next on the rainbow.
Hell yeah. Well, we're gonna schedule it just so it's on the books and make it happen.
Yes.
So yeah, listeners, I'm gonna be very honest. This is what it looks like when two adult sexual people talk about sex and healing and love and life. And so if you are in your 20s, and if you're like, oh my gosh, I've never heard people talk like this before, you probably haven't. Honestly, if you're in your 20s or you're Gen Z, because you're listening to, not to like take a shit on clavicular, but you're listening to clav and bone smashing and looks maxing, you don't need to do bone smashing. And if you just don't hit your face with a hammer, kids. Do you know about bone smashing, Lindsay?
No.
Okay, bone smashing is the whole thing. I'll tell you about it later. So
Okay.
I'm not going to take shots at clavicular. I think he's actually cool, and I would love to have a conversation, but that is a very different style of sex than what we're talking about. And Clav is like probably 21, 22, and he's doing very, very well. Although he did run over a guy in his Tesla truck. Probably not a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
Either way, these are the types of conversations that we're going to continue to have here on the Stone Protocol and on hopefully the Prism, which is going to be in the other room with other amazing guests. And it is such a pleasure and an honor, Lindsay, to have you here. This has been such a fantastic conversation. I knew that it would be. I was even telling our producer right before we start, I was like, this is going to be a really good one, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're going to find out. And so he did find out.
Fuck around and find out, baby.
Fuck around and find out. And our sound equipment also found out by fritzing out twice. So in the vein of counting orgasms, we can take our little teacup and we throw two little things for breaking the orgasming the sound equipment. Who knows what will happen next time? But I look forward to it. So everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.